Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. Welcome back to episode 2 of Age of Wonders 4, and it looks like we have a battle to start with because we've got this army over here, which I did actually uncover by using that scout to remove that little block of land. I probably shouldn't have done because that's now caused a bit of a problem. It doesn't look like it's a brilliant army. It's undead, so we've got a couple of Vampire Spiders and a couple of skeletons. They are only tier 1. So we've got Ancient Orcs as well. So we've got a couple of polearm units, so they're just melee. And then we've got a couple of these are melee units as well, I think. So this shouldn't be too difficult. Of course, we only have one army right now. We are working on some extra units. Now, one of my regular viewers and subscribers, Foundation Afro, did mention in the last video that I said you should always be producing units. So if ever you're not producing a unit, you basically turn 25% of your draft into... I don't think it's gold. I think it's something else with draft. I can't remember what it is. It might be into knowledge. There certainly does come a point where you reach such a high number of units that you cannot economically sustain anymore because you pay an upkeep for them. So there does come a point when you want to stop building military units because you can't afford to have more. But unlike something in Civilization where you only have one build queue per city and you have to juggle your military production in between your buildings and civilian units and everything else, you don't have to here because your military units have their own production queue. So certainly in the early game you want to be constantly producing new units because we need to get a couple of armies going as soon as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this unit over here. Now we can't move very far, but there's a little trick to this. So we can move over here as far as we can. Now it is worth bearing in mind that you do have the option, not initially, I think it's something you have to unlock. You do have the option later on to unlock Forced March on your armies, which basically allows them to get 100% of their movement back and give them a double move. However, it does leave them exhausted, which means that for 2 turns they can't regenerate health, and I think there's some other penalties as well. So I've moved as close as I can with this army, and they're now out of movement, so we can't actually reach this guy to initiate the fight. But what I can do is I can actually move in and attack with the scout, and that will actually bring in the main army because it's within range. Now we could just go ahead and auto-combat this, but, you know, combat's half the fun, so let's go in and hope that I do a semi-decent job of keeping some of my units alive. So it's not my turn. Again, the defenders get to move first. They're quite far away, which is good because it gives me a bit of time to set up a bit of a defensive perimeter. Just cycle through the units because we may get a tutorial pop up on the scout or something. Yeah, there we go. So scout units are very weak, it's true. You can hide units by putting them in certain bits of terrain, like high foliage and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and move forwards with my melee units. Can't get too far forward with the polearm, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm just going to try and keep some of the other units behind. We'll attack from range where possible. Move forwards with you. Yeah, everyone's quite far back at the moment. So we'll bring some people forwards. We'll get you to do... I don't really think there's a lot you need to do. Let's move you in here. And we can get both of these guys to go defensive, really. I mean, everyone else can pretty much go defensive at this point. We'll just let the enemy come to us. No, I don't think they'll be able to get close enough to attack. And they are all melee. Again, can't really get in with the polearms here. Actually, I can get that side of my hero, which is ideal. And then I can go and move in with the mages. Right, we're slightly out of range with everybody. Actually, no, you can actually take a hit with a magic blast They do have a fire weakness, so we're not going to do a huge amount of damage there. Let's start off with one of our spells, and we'll actually use Cosmic Ablation, because we can do probably a fair bit of damage if that hits. And then that gives Star Blades to everybody else, so then we'll do a bit of extra fire damage. So now if we attack with you, it'll do that little bit of extra damage that it wouldn't have done before. So there's one of their units quite weakened off. You're a bit too far back. Now I can't reach you. What I could do is over channel and cast another spell. And I think I might do that. We'll over channel. And then we'll cast again, because we want to try and get rid of this unit as quick as possible. The fewer units that we're up against, the better. Now, it's also worth noting in this game that when you reduce a unit's health, you're actually reducing the number of entities within that unit. So as you can see now, this unit only has a single skeleton left. Normally it has, what's that, 8. And now it's down to 1/8, which means it'll only do about 1/8 of the damage if it attacks me. So a unit can only attack with its full damage if it is at full capacity. So this full army, this full unit of skeletons does 14 damage with its melee strike. This one only does 2. So it's not going to do as much damage to me now. Now this one could still come in and damage me, so I am still going to pop my defensive abilities where I can. Because, yeah, Cosmic Bolts was still a little bit too far away. Put you in defensive mode. You can go in defensive mode. You can go in defensive mode. Yeah, well, and I guess we can move forwards with the scout a little bit. That nobody can reach him here, and he is a little bit of extra damage. So let's let them move towards us. Again, I don't think they might get to attack actually. Yeah. Very little damage, and we get a free counter attack. Okay, now that skeleton's moving in to attack the scout, which is fine. It's only 2 damage. You're attacking my hero, which is annoying, but we've got some good physical resistance there, and we get the free counter attack, and we've caused them a bleed. Okay, that's not a bad turn. Now, our scout is actually a ranged unit, and because we're pinned by this melee unit, we can't use our ranged attack. Now, I could try and move, but if I'm in their zone of control. So if I do move out of their zone of control, they'll get a free hit at me. So I don't really want to move. So what I can do is I can take another unit. So for example, we can go and move this... Where's better? Well, we move as far forward as we can. So we can actually take a hit over here, and that will then destroy that unit, and then that frees up our scout. We can try and take these units out where possible. We'll do an awful lot of damage to that with our mages there, because we get 3 hits. And then we can probably finish them off with the spell shields. There we go, so they're off. So now we've got this 1 unit left. We can take a hit with the scout. We got a couple of hits there actually. So, and that's a flanking attack because we were from the side. So I've done an awful lot of damage there. We could go for a 90% chance to hit with our soothers. So there we go. They're already on very, very low health. And now I think we will do the attack with our leader.
Unit just got hit by a retaliation. This happens when a melee unit is struck from within its zone of control.
Yeah, so we attacked, but got hit in with a retaliation, and it might have been, I didn't actually check, the skeleton unit may have had first strike. So normally what happens in melee combat is if you attack a unit that has retaliation, if you're in its zone of control, which doesn't count if you're flanking, but if they're defending, then obviously you can't flank them. But if you're in the zone of control and you attack them with a melee attack, then they can hit you back. Now normally, if you'll kill the unit, you don't have to worry, because if you hit them and they die, then they can't counterattack, which is great. They can't retaliate. However, if a unit has first strike, they get to hit first. So even though I attacked the unit, the retaliation struck first, so it must have had first strike. Okay, so we've got 1 unit left. We can still cast a spell. Let's go ahead and blast it, because that will take half of its health off and give everybody Star Blades for 3 more turns. And it does stack. You can see we've got Star Blades times 3 here. So the unit has +1 fire damage, lightning damage, or frost damage per stack. And it stacks up to 3 times. So useful. You can still move. Not sure what that icon is. I don't recognise it. I can get you in here. I can't flank, unfortunately, but let's move you forward. Now, we are going to be in zone of control, but we can attack. We didn't manage to sunder their armour, so... Oh, no, maybe we did. So the tutorial hasn't been very good at explaining what all the iconography is. I know that this icon is essentially this one. It's your resistance to non-physical attacks. I think the little red sword means that you've attacked this turn. Although a lot of these units have attacked. I don't think we have anyone else left who can move. Now, if he can either attack me or move. And, yeah, I think he tried to move. He tried to move out of my zone of control and triggered an opportunity attack. So that wasn't too bad. We actually survived that, and it looks like we've got promotions on both of our Arcanist units as well. So I'm happy with that. So that was a good battle won. So these units get a little promotion. Is it that one there? Soldier. Right, yeah. So basically, as they get XP and level up, they get additional health. And they get, yeah, Elite Medal gives them more damage, and Legendary Medal gives them Evoker. So we have got some more health on these ones, so that's good. So we do have a monster den over here, and we want to clear that out, otherwise it's going to keep spawning units. There's no point me attacking it with the scout, because I won't be close enough to bring my army in. I'm going to leave the scout here, because if these monsters come out of the den and attack the scout, it'll still bring this army in, so no problem there. We could move the scout back a little bit, but I don't think there's really any need to do that. So we'll just get him to well, wait a turn, I suppose. Hyperlinks and tooltips, yep, don't need to worry about that. Don't need the map overview.
You can always...
Just makes me want to click on it. Okay, just go away. Right, let's end the turn.
You have gathered a large amount.
So we're now starting to gain Imperium.
This represents the influence you have over the world.
So Imperium is mainly gained.
Where are we? Unlock new Empire skills or speed ups.
We don't need to read all that. So our Imperium count is up here basically. So it's used for acquiring cities, speeding up Empire development and negotiations. The cost of founding a new city is 200 Imperium. We can click on our Empire development, and you see we have this tree here.
Here you will specialize your empire towards certain playstyles. Increase your empire's affinity to open more.
So it's talking about affinity.
Toward unlocking your next empire skill every turn, depending on your affinity values. Once unlocked, you can spend Imperium to obtain the empire skill. Unlike research, the empire skills provide more passive bonuses and activate immediately upon selection.
So you can see what our affinities are because they're up here in the top corner. So we've got 4 Empire Astral Affinity, and we've got 2 Empire Materium Affinity, which is why we've already got some unlocks on these 2 skill trees here. There's also just a general one as well.
Choosing a tome.
And different tomes will alter our affinities, but we'll talk about tomes later on. So we've got these ones here, and we can start to work our way towards these. So casting reserves is an astral skill. We gain 20 additional combat casting points and world map casting points for 50 Imperium. Or we can work down this way and get military engineering. So outposts cost 50% less gold and take 1 turn less to build. And they also start with palisade walls. That will be quite useful for when we're expanding. So we could go down towards that. I don't think we can afford any of these right now. I don't think we can actually get to any of these, so we've got to wait a little bit before we can do anything. There's excavation, which is a general skill. We already start with that unlocked because we are subterranean. Basic seafaring allows us to embark on water. Expanded governance, road building, right of the last stand. So each city in your empire loses 1 population but immediately summons 3 tier 1 units. Wow. Diplomatic focus, ascended sensing, forced march, yeah, so it's a little way up the general tree, but we can get it. And even teleporter infrastructure to allow you to teleport your units around the map. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do now is we'll go and try and clear out this monster den, and then we can do a little bit more looking around. Now, we should have also gained population. We can see we have gained population here. So we could grab.
And gained a new population. Every province has different features.
No, she's going to want me to click on this.
What type of
Shut up, woman.
Can be built in it.
So I get to choose which one of these provinces I now want to take as my next one, and I need to choose a specialization for them. So I could annex this one down here, and the only thing I can build is a forester. But that will give me some additional food and some additional production. If I wanted to take this province, we could get a farm, which gives us quite a bit of food and production, or we could get a mine, which would give us some production and gold, or we could get a quarry, which would give us, again, some production and gold, but mostly production. Or we could even grab something up here and grab a research post. That'll be quite nice. Get some early mana and... can't remember what they call knowledge. Get some early mana and knowledge, or we could build a conduit and just get mana. There's not that many options to get research posts, actually, so I'm quite tempted to just go and grab that one. It will allow us to unlock more spells and skills more quickly, which is going to be useful for us. City stability, we don't have to worry too much about that. I think our city is reasonably stable at the moment. We've lost a little bit because we've actually expanded, so that is something that does happen when you build a new... when you build extra domains, you do lose some stability. There are buildings that will get the stability up. So we'll need to have a look at that. Build extra buildings to get them up. Not sure what we want next. I'll wait on that one. So let's go ahead and do the fight. So we'll clear this monster den. So invading armies will be sent from the spawner location to your lands if left unchecked for too long. Destroying them, however, might prove challenging. We've got a little mini quest here. This just says it's a safe battle. Not sure why it's saying that I couldn't move into that. It says I will arrive in 1 turn. There we go. Don't know what that was all about. So I've done the same trick that I used last time, basically. I've sent my scout in to initiate the battle, and my rest of my armies will get dragged in. That's fine. So there's only 2 units here. Now these, you can see they've got like an arrow and a blade, so these are skirmish units.
Skirmisher unit.
So basically skirmisher units have ranged attacks and can fight in melee. So they are tier 1 units. They have 50 health, 3 defense and 3 resistance, which is not great. They do have poison needle though, so their ranged attack is quite painful. 60% chance of inflicting poison for 3 turns. Now you do notice that there's only 1 dot, which means they can only fire it once per turn, unlike their melee strike, which can hit 3 times per turn. Now we don't have much to hide behind here. So I am going to sort of shuffle forward a little bit with as many of my units as I safely can. And we're going to let them come to us. You're kind of hiding. Where's the scout? Scout's all the way over here. We'll bring the scout forward. Now you see these little arrows around the edge of the map. So this is the retreat zone. So if I decide that during a fight I want to try and escape from the fight, I can move all of my units into this zone. When I get them onto these tiles, they move off the map. There's no one that we can hit from here, so let's just go ahead and put everybody into a defensive stance. Don't have many people next to you. You're kind of facing the wrong way. I want you facing that way. Changing facing doesn't cost any actions, so you can always change which direction that you're facing on a turn, because the direction that you're facing by default is basically the direction that you were traveling in, so you're always allowed to change that. So let's end the turn. What was the range on their attack? I didn't actually check it. They're not close enough to attack though, which is nice. Unfortunately, I'm not close enough to attack them either. But let's go ahead and start by using one of our spells, and we'll use Cosmic Ablation. Not because it does a huge amount of damage to them, although it's done pretty much half, but because it gives everybody else Star Blade, so it's worthwhile for that. We've got a decent amount of mana coming in, so we'll go ahead and we'll channel and cast it again. We'll use it on the same unit. Again, partly because we get Star Blades, an extra charge of Star Blades, but also if we can get rid of one unit, then we're in a much safer spot. I'm just going to move up here with the Scout, and just hopefully take that unit out with the Scout. There we go. Now we're down to a single unit. So we can go and pin them down in melee. Again, must remember that they are... they do have retaliation, and they'll do 8 damage of retaliation if I attack them. Obviously, I am going to attack them. But before I attack them in melee, I'm going to try and do as much damage to them as I can. So we can... If we move here, we'll get 2 shots at 70%. If I move here, I'll get 1 shot at 90%. I think 2 shots with a 70% chance to hit is worth the gamble. And we did. We got both hits in. Now, we're out of range. We'll get 2 shots. Yeah, again, same deal. 2 shots at 70% or 1 shot at 90%. So we're doing a good amount of fire damage and a little bit of frost. And then we could move up with you, but I've kind of blocked my own path, so I can't really get in. I will move forwards just in case they do come closer, although they are pinned, so we can probably finish them off. They'll do 2 damage of retaliation. Because we've weakened them down now, the retaliation damage is less because there's fewer units to retaliate. So this will probably finish them off. There we go. That was a nice easy one. Bear in mind this is only like the sort of tutorial zone. So they're gone. We didn't take too much damage. Got a level up on our hero. Got promotion on our soother as well as the scout. Good. Good stuff. And we got some rewards. So we get both of these. We gain 71 food and 115 gold. Very nice. And we get a phase cloak. So it's a tier 3 item. And it grants 2 resilience and an ability called phase. Caster moves to a target hex. Has a range of 4. So basically it's a short range teleport on a 2-turn cooldown. And I'm assuming it ignores terrain obstacles. So, you know, we could teleport over a gap, we could teleport over a river, we could teleport over a, you know, series of rocks and impassable terrain. So that's quite nice. So we'll take those rewards. And what we'll do now is we'll click on our main army. If we go ahead and right click on our hero panel, we can now see some information about our hero. We have the option to level him up, which is something that we will do. We can adjust his appearance, but I'm not going to go mess around with all of that. But plenty of other YouTubers have spent hours just showing you all of the cosmetic options. If you want a really in-depth video of all of the setup and everything that you can do to create your factions, Quill18's done a really good one, and so has Marbazir. Go and check them out. They've gone very in-depth on the character creation and the realm creation and everything else. So we can see what we've got here. He has that excavation skill. So these are all of the equipment that you can use. We start with Godir Great Axe. which disables our mount slot, unfortunately. So you can get mounts, but because he's melee and he's using that weapon, it disables his mount. We can, however, take that away from him if we want to. But it gives him that charging strike. We can give him a different weapon if we want to. This is our inventory, so we can see what we've got here. So we can go ahead and equip that onto the torso. You also have the option to sell an item. You see it says 56 gold at the bottom, so we could actually sell it for 56 gold. But we don't want to do that. We're going to equip it on him. And then we're going to press this button down here, which will allow us to level up. So this now gives us a skill point that we can basically spend. Some of these are locked and require you to have the prerequisite skill point. So, you know, I need to learn one more warfare skill to unlock fighting 2. So our options are archery, which will increase our physical ranged attacks. Well, we don't really use physical ranged attacks. We can increase his defense and evasion, or we can give him the sprint ability. So for 1 turn, it gives him 8 movement. Now, also, that is slippery. The unit does not trigger opportunity attack. The unit is not stopped by enemy zone of control, and the unit ignores the effects of terrain in combat. So that's actually quite a good escape tool if you want to disengage from a fight or slip past an enemy. It's worth having on a hero. But Attunement Starblades, when a spell is cast, this unit's base attack randomly gains +1 fire damage, +1 lightning damage, or +1 frost damage for 3 turns. Not sure we necessarily need that. So what would be good for him? Lightning Evoker deals damage to target enemy and deals damage to target enemy unit and 2 others within 3 hexes. So this is actually quite an expensive one to cast. You'll see it's got 3 blue dots, so we actually need all 3 action points in order to cast this. Electrified, base chance of inflicting electrified for 3 turns. It's a nice ability. And give him resistance. There's more stuff down here as well for support. While an army leader, all non-hero units in the army gain 2 experience each turn. That's nice. We could give him a heal. Target friendly unit heals 10 temporary hit points. Gains regeneration. So that's 6 hit points at the end of its turn in battle. Stats up to 5 times. True Sight, unit can spot invisible or camouflaged units within its vision range, or we can just give him extra hit points. I think I like the idea of giving him Restore. It's always nice having, or we could go for Experienced Leader, because that extra XP will boost up the hit points in our army. Let's give him Experienced Leader, and we'll confirm that. I think that's a good general skill to start off with. So there we go, we've upgraded our leader. We have had a few upgrades on these guys as well, and that's that place cleared out now. So we do have some movement left on our scout. It's pretty pointless moving in, but we'll just do that anyway. And yeah, that's clear. That's that cleared out now. We are still working on the Arcane Guard and the Storehouse. After we'll want to build up another army as soon as possible. So we're going to want another Arcane Guard and probably a couple of Arcanists as well. So we'll work on that. We are still working on summoning the Phantasm Warrior. So that shouldn't take too long. They're not brilliant, but I mean, it's a good way to get some cheap units just to bolster your armies in the early game. And they're especially useful if one of your cities is under attack and you don't have anything close by. So that's not too bad. And then we've got some other stuff around the map that we can go and pick up. So we've got a gold vein there. Nice, we could probably annex that area once we've got another population, which will only be 1 turn. Or we can actually spend some Imperium to attract population if we want to, but I don't think we need to. Again, we don't want to increase the size of the city too quickly because we don't want to lose stability. But yeah, that is something we'll sort out on the next video. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you are still enjoying Age of Wonders 4. We'll speed things up a little bit as we start to go through these videos. Obviously, I'm still in the very early stages of learning some of the mechanics myself and refreshing the ones that I thought I knew, but also trying to explain what's going on. So as we get into further videos, we'll hopefully get more stuff done per turn. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you on the next video, and until then, goodbye for now.